Out here, it's just me and the earth. It challenges my mind, my willpower, and my body. It fuels me. So I can do more of what I love. And that's why I'm earth-fed.
For a long time, Pennsylvania was kind of looked down as a climbing state because there was no big places to climb.
Come on.
The next thing you know, there's like so much climbing in PA, I haven't even seen it all yet.
All the areas that we found over the years and that I've been taken to or shared with friends is so different.
Pennsylvania is such a big state, you know, and
well, the greatest thing about Pennsylvania is there's enough diversity in the rock here that you can boulder all year, any time of the year, and you're gonna have a good time. All of it's classic, and you can always find a season to climb in Pennsylvania.
I would say it's only about third developed the boulder province in Pennsylvania because there's just so much more everywhere that people only know about.
Brian, he started getting into the satellite imagery, and it's crazy. Every day it seems like he's sending me all this rock pictures. Like there's rock here, rock here.
There's so many areas in Pennsylvania where there's just no one lives. There's certainly a lot of areas that we don't know about.
Pennsylvania bouldering's always been the frontier, man. My experience, Pennsylvania bouldering, the frontier.
I've been out here every weekend pretty much for the past 6 years. The whole reason I started coming out here was for the deep water soloing. There's like beautiful deep water soloing, and people see it and they want to come out, and it can be safe, but it's also super dangerous. The water levels change, logs could be floating down. I always bob in my fall zone before I go. Like I'll bob down like 10, 15 feet in like a grid, and that's super important. Some people don't do that. Most of the deep water soloing's been done. Right now we're focused on the pad climbing. We're not sure if we're gonna call it shallow water bouldering or aqua gliding or gliding, but it's like a whole new sport and it needs its own name.
Adam, you got the genius idea to get the aqua glide.
Actually, it was Shep's idea.
I don't know, it was kind of a team idea.
We all kind of looked. We all had different like ideas.
It was a brainstorm session. So we started researching online and we found some inflatable docks. And we were trying to find docks that seemed like they were robust enough to withstand falling on. The original one we started with, which was decent, Airport Classic, it was like 380 bucks. And we all chipped in for the first one. The Airport Classic though, if you use it heavy, didn't seem to hold up. So then they sent us a more robust one, more of a professional pad. His project, we've done the stand, or so close to doing the sit, but it's a huge water spout, the biggest water spout out here. It's got to be like 12 feet around.
Oh, dude!
It's all a good group of guys. Love my crew. We get a lot done. Everyone has a good time, supports each other. Everyone chips in on the expenses.
Get over it.
It's a team effort for sure.
Wait till we get the salmon out.
Yeah! Woo! Aqua glide. That was the first one we ever did.
Yeah.
You press the button.
So we're gonna go up to a crystal ship project, and sometimes the water level can be up and it's like too high. And then sometimes the water level's down and it's exposed rock and it's almost too low. So depending on the water level, kind of like sets you up on what you're climbing that day. Nice. Totally know how to do this shit. Come on. Everything you got, come on. Come on. Dig. Keep moving.
Whiskey Springs is one of these classic Pennsylvania areas where there's maybe 60, 70 boulder problems, but it's not a big destination or a big boulder field. So it's like this little pocket, and it has its handful of gems that are totally worth visiting. And it's made up of this conglomerate, and it's got some overhangs, which is kind of unique for South Central PA, and all around a really fun, beautiful place. I remember first hearing about 10 High from Tony DeSano, who named it. And he had done a stand, and I don't remember where he stood to start, but it seemed obvious that there should just be a low start, and linking up into the stand then got really tricky. Where we're at right now is this little area in Michaux Forest, which from Whiskey Springs is about 20 minutes away. And Michaux Forest holds a bunch of little satellite areas that are sort of like Whiskey, where they've got 50, 60 boulder problems, and then these few super gem lines that just stand out. People have been climbing at Whiskey Springs for a really long time. And I know this one guy, Tim Garland, and his crew back in the day, they established most of the boulder problems. But people have been climbing there forever, and probably always will be.
Within a 30-mile range of Connellsville, there's about 38 different bouldering areas. They're all of the gritstone type. They're all of super perfect grain, tons of classic climbs. There's everything you could think of out there. It's the potential is unbelievable.
Yep. I don't think I'll ever get tired of bouldering in Southwestern PA.
No, not anytime soon.
There you go. Come on. Nice push. Yes. Big job.
A little snowy up here.
Yeah, Mike.
The rock here is igneous diabase intrusion. It's an old volcanic rock. We call it Diabase for short. It really has like a consistent friction. It tends to be a lot of rounded features. Like for years, people hated Diabase, and there's still Diabase haters, which is fine, but it's a totally different style, which is cool. That's one of the cool things about Pennsylvania. You have all these different types of rock, which gives you different styles of climbing.
Yeah, dude. I started this competition in 2011. I just wanted to do something to give back to the community, and I realized that there needed to be a liaison between the climbers and the park, and it's grown into a wonderful relationship, and they really love what the climbers are out here doing. We're one of the largest user groups, and this event really promotes that. It's really exciting to look back over the last 10 years and realize what we have accomplished and the amount of money we raised for the park, and it's a really good feeling.
Better. Better. Come on. Keep bumping. Come on. Keep bumping? Yeah. The two on the left. Where's the red? Nice. Climbing used to the PA, right? Yeah. Ready, proud.
We're up here.
Dude, you made the thing. Nice, dude. Solid.
Awesome.
Ow! Woo!
So Governor's Table is Diabase. It's part of that band that runs through the state of Pennsylvania. So the GS Comp is our way to raise enough funds for opening GS for 8 months out of the year. And it's also just kind of a little bit of a festival so we can enjoy the boulders together and bring the community together each year.
Real nice.
Yeah, Ryan. Nice job.
Come on, dude.
Here at Haycock Mountain, there's currently about 700 boulder problems listed in the app. This is Diabase. It's one of the many Diabase areas in Pennsylvania, and it's the biggest Diabase area in the world, so, which is pretty cool. And Diabase is really technical. It lends itself to a really technical style of climbing. Lots of foot smears, lots of featureless climbing, lots of compression. The Diabase here is really comparable to Governor Dick for sure. I'm not an expert in this, but it seems like, you know, Haycock and Governor Dick have been eroded by wind and rain, whereas Governor Stables had been eroded by water. So there's much less coarse texture here, very fine grained, whereas Governor Stables has a lot more holds, way grainier rock.
Hit it by like.
Yeah. You know, people come up and they go to Hangar 18 and they do the Caves Trail South. And for the most part, that's the majority of most people's experience. But there are these like outlying areas. You could go and, you know, go to some of these areas where these boulders have been climbed once in 20 years and definitely have the place to yourself. There's a lot of wild parts to Haycock. You can get lost in the woods. That's one of my favorite things about the area for sure.
So we're in Elk County, Pennsylvania. You're kind of up on this plateau and you drive in here, and then any of the side roads that you take just dips down into these valleys. There's really no trails. You just kind of have to know where you're going and just be willing to hike up there.
Chug. Yes.
The majority of the climbs up here seem to be arêtes. It's almost like the rock has formed with the river, forming these very angular arêtes. Very water worn, a lot of slopers. You get a lot of like slimpers. It's not quite a crimp, and it's not quite a sloper.
Come on, Charlie. Yeah.
There's some massive boulders that, like, you know, future generations maybe when they put a hospital closer will want to go and do them. From the cabin, it only takes probably 20 minutes to all the major areas. There's certainly a lot of rock up here. It's all about just being willing to get to it. And if you put the effort in, you're gonna get rewarded. But you have to be willing to hike, and you have to be willing to spend the day out there and scrub, and you know, you may not climb anything, you may spend an entire day just cleaning things.
Hunter's Rock is part of a very high quality sandstone. It extends from like Lewistown all the way to Huntington. There's this band of it. But here there's this ridge that the rock is just at a nice angle so that blocks break off and you get these blocks everywhere. This perfect quality sandstone.
Buddy.
Not a lot of really difficult climbs here, and there's not a lot of easy climbs, just tons of moderates everywhere. And high balls, good Lord, the high balls out the ass, it's just incredible.
Come on, Charles.
Northeast PA. You won't find too much online or on the internet. It's kind of still a very pristine, pretty area to go walking around and look at. Mackinac is like a coal country town. It's very mountainous. Right along the Susquehanna, a very beautiful town. We have two different types of rock. So this right behind me is like quartz conglomerate, similar to the gunks. You have good edges, crimps, stuff like that.
Yeah, come on. Okay. All right. Nice, dude. Nice, dude. Yeah, dude. Come on, dude. Yeah, come on, dude.
Don't go to Boulder Gardens in the summer. You go over to Squirrel. It's very like techie, weather dependent, like temperature dependent type of rock. A lot of footwork.
But I'll take it. Yeah.
The Allegheny National Forest is in northwest Pennsylvania, and the National Forest is actually pretty big. The A&F has got so much climbing, man. You've got Hilltop, which is really underdeveloped, and there's probably 100 boulder problems up there. I've been climbing here for almost 20 years, and last year I just started looking at some more aerials, and I'm like, oh, looks like there's some shadows here. And you go walk around the woods, found a whole new set of boulders. The A&F slope or mantle move. You get that ledge, you're like, oh, that's such a good ledge, and you get up there, it's not a good ledge, it's a sloping ledge.
Woo! Yeah!
Rimrock is fairly popular. It's a destination for, really was more of a destination for travelers and tourists and not climbers. So Rimrock's sweet. You've got great bouldering right in the Laurel Graveyard, right off the parking lot. Literally grab your crash pads and you've set up at a boulder in 5 minutes. Like toe to toe. Toe to toe, you can chat with somebody at their car while you're bouldering. There's just so much rock. And you get a variety of experiences. I think that's one of the things I love about it. If I want to be social, I want to come out here and play, easy approach, no big deal. If I want to get out there and have a little bit of an adventure, still right out the back door, man.
What we have here is really good, and there's a lot of it. There's a lot to be developed. If people are psyched, you can come out here and have a great time. I've lived here all my life and have made like a lifetime of climbing out here, and it's just, there's tons to do.
Potential is ridiculous for climbing in Pennsylvania.
Ah!